shadow creeping across a wall that you don't notice until it has spread over the entire room. A misattributed comment here, a slight twist of words there, tiny, seemingly insignificant things that I barely noticed at first. Ryan was always smooth, charming in a way that made you lower your guard, a man who smiled at exactly the right moments, laughed at exactly the right jokes, nodded as if he understood everyone, and somehow, effortlessly, everyone adored him. He was magnetic. He was persuasive. He was that rare type of person who seemed like an ally until the moment he was. But beneath that charm, I began sensing something else, a careful, calculating mind that measured every reaction, every word, every glance. It was slow, subtle, like watching a spider spin a web. You only realize the trap when you're already caught. I remember the first real moment it hit me. I walked into the conference room, coffee in hand, expecting a regular morning briefing. There he was, presenting an idea I had worked on for weeks as if it were his own. My stomach dropped. My hands tightened on the coffee cup. I wanted to speak, to stop him, to claim my work in front of everyone, but the room was full of people, all eyes on me. If I said anything, it would have looked like bitterness, like envy. He wasn't just stealing my work. He was rewriting reality. He was taking not just my effort, but my credibility. That day, I learned something fundamental. Results don't speak, people do. And Ryan had already positioned himself as the speaker while I stayed silent, thinking hard work alone would be enough. It was, not even close. The next week, I started noticing a pattern unfolding everywhere. Other colleagues, people who had once been confident, now seemed quiet. Personal anymore. It wasn't about emotion. It was about strategy. I began documenting everything. Every email he sent asking for my work. Every draft he tried to claim as his own. Every meeting where he subtly shifted credit to himself. Screenshots, timestamps, email chains, file version histories, anything that could prove authorship and intent. I knew one day the truth would have to come out, and when it did, I needed it untouchable, undeniable. Then it became personal. At a company networking event, I ran into her. She was genuine, smart, someone who didn't perform for attention. For a moment, I almost ignored her. We talked about her approach, about her approach, about her meetings, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like I knew her. Ryan noticed. I saw his eyes hold focus, that possessive intensity, the same way he used on my days when he directed me. Days later, when I hesitated to respond to my messages. When we finally spoke, she admitted Ryan had been telling me I was unstable, obsessive, difficult to work with. He wasn't just stealing my work anymore. He was actively undermining my reputation, poisoning perceptions before I even had a chance to defend myself. That was the moment my anger transformed fully into a plan. I stopped giving him access, stopped engaging casually, and I began building my arsenal. Every email, draft, screenshot, and timestamp became a weapon. I started studying him, observing every pattern, every weakness, every opportunity. I began imagining the moment when it would all fall apart for him, the exact way it would happen, down to the pause, the stammer, the shift in body language. I started subtle moves weeks in advance. I corrected minor misrepresentations quietly during meetings so executives could notice the details themselves. I casually mentioned my contributions in casual hallway conversations, never aggressively, just facts slipped into normal dialogue. People started to notice, slowly. Ryan remained oblivious, too focused on performance, too hungry to see the trap forming. Then came the small betrayals I hadn't anticipated. A colleague, someone I trusted, began to believe Ryan's charm and repeated small exaggerations he made about my work. Another colleague was subtly pressured into siding with him in a minor project debate. I realized that it wasn't just one person's manipulation. It was a network of influence, built from small lies, false claims, and misdirection. I learned quickly. Strategy isn't just about evidence. It's about timing, patience, and building the right narrative quietly. Every day, I added pieces to my arsenal. I meticulously logged every draft I had created, every suggestion he subtly tried to take credit for, every email where he misrepresented my ideas as his own. I began building a digital trail that even he couldn't imagine existed. And then the company announced the promotion and the major client pitch, the perfect stage for him to shine, or for me to expose him completely. Ryan immediately volunteered for both, confident, overconfident, hungry, and his hunger was his weakness. I joined his team under the guise of collaboration but carefully crafted a trap. I created a version of the pitch that looked flawless on the surface but required context only I understood. He took it greedily, assuming he could present it perfectly as he always did, without realizing the trap was embedded in the details. The days leading up to the presentation were torture, in the best possible sense. Every meeting, every casual conversation, every subtle observation became a test. I watched how Ryan interacted with custom slides, tensions, tiny pauses, and confidence, moments where they were focused on minor mistakes. I learned everything I could, storing it mentally alongside my evidence. The more I observed, the more I realized that the more greedy and ambitious he became, the easier it would be to expose him. On the day of the presentation, the air was tense. Ryan spoke first, claiming the week was his own. Executives nodded politely, pens scribbled, eyes moved across laptops. For a moment it seemed he might pull it off. But then came the first critical question, the one no rehearsed line could fully answer. He stammered. His poise cracked slightly. Another question, more precise, another pause. And then the operational risk question, the one that required true understanding. He froze. The room sensed it immediately. His confidence began to bleed away, subtle at first, then more obvious with every passing second. I took the floor calmly, presenting the details of my authorship, showing the drafts, the email chains, the timestamps, all in a narrative that sounded natural, unforced. Executives listened carefully, asked questions, and the cracks in Ryan's story became impossible to ignore. Ryan's face changed from confident to defensive to desperate. Every small lie, every stolen credit, every manipulation I had documented became undeniable evidence. The room wasn't angry, it was silent. Executives don't reward arrogance without substance. Every passing moment team, but I had anticipated it. I walked into HR calm, composed, presenting every piece of evidence. Emails, drafts, timestamps, screenshots, proof of his manipulation, proof of my authorship, proof of his false claims. He tried to argue, tried to manipulate, but the proof didn't lie. HR listened carefully, asked questions, and Ryan's carefully constructed world collapsed. Review concluded swiftly. He lost the promotion, his credibility and his access privileges were limited. Within days, he was gone from the role entirely. His desk cleared, his influence evaporated. People who had hesitated to trust me before now approached me differently. Maya apologized quietly, acknowledging she hadn't realized the manipulation. I didn't smile. I didn't forgive. I learned that morning, charm is not character, confidence is not competence, work alone isn't enough. Strategy, documentation, and patience are the weapons that protect truth. Ryan played games, but I learned the rules and ended the game cleanly. Over the following weeks, I reflected deeply. Office politics weren't about emotion. They were about proof, timing, and preparation. People who seemed untouchable could fall in hours if their foundation was weak. The lesson was clear. Never underestimate subtlety. Never rely on charisma alone. Never let someone claim what's yours. Observe, document, and act strategically. Wait for the right moment. Months later, I stood in the same conference room where Ryan had attempted to steal everything. The energy was different. Respect replaced tension. The promotion came. I didn't feel pride. I felt understanding, clarity. The moral was simple. Charm is not character, confidence is not competence, and the person who builds quietly, with proof, with patience, always wins in the end. Those who rise without substance fall fastest. Those who manipulate without foundation collapse spectacularly. And the truth, when presented calmly and with evidence, is unstoppable. Even after Ryan was gone, the memory lingered, a lesson written in behavior and consequences. People like him build fast, climb fast, but their structure is empty. A few moments of exposure can dismantle everything. And those who prepare, who work silently, who guard their work and reputation. They survive, they dominate, they end the game on their own terms. Because in the end, results don't speak. People speak. And truth, when wielded strategically, always wins.